Right, so I'm going to test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? All looks good?
Yeah.
Right, go. Hi everybody! My name is Carolina Rodriguez, one of the founders of Plant Ahead Money. I'm one of the seniors coach. I just want to tell you a little bit about my past so that you know how I got here. I'm originally from Venezuela. I was born in Venezuela, then lived years and years in Madrid, in Spain. My father was Spanish. And then from Spain, I moved from a boarding school in Switzerland. And then from Switzerland, then I moved to Brussels for 2 years. And then I came back to Venezuela when my mother got divorced and got remarried. I moved from Venezuela to England, and here I am. So why did I tell you all these things? Well, one of the key things that made me who I am today is the amount of countries that I lived, cultures that I probably experienced, people that I met, and probably obviously the languages, which is important to communicate with people. Since on that journey, I come from backgrounds from Venezuela, which is a very Catholic sort of background, where the discussions about money that was non-existent. So even if even more than you're a woman, you just don't talk about money. People tell you need to study, go to university, go find a job, find a good husband, but nobody really tells you about the power of earning or about things. My dad was very old-fashioned, so it was 4 of us, 4 girls. I was the little one, and then my dad used to give us pocket money every week. And I had 3 sisters, 2 of them a lot older than me, that came from my dad's first marriage. And my sister, which is only 18 months older than me, they used to get pocket money. So my dad used to give me 5 pesetas, and my sister used to get 10 pesetas a week. And we used to go to the same shops. We used to buy the sweeties, and my sister always had more than I did. And that sort of used to make me feel a bit unfair and uncomfortable, and obviously a bit frustrated. So I became extremely competitive, part of arguing with my dad, constantly saying that was not fair. I started to say, well, how can I make money, to match her up? So I used to walk around the house and ask my dad, what can I do to earn the extra money? And then he used to go, well, just work with the gardener and then help him with the garden. I was in Ibiza, and I was in the summer, and then I saw a bunch of photographers in the club, and then they were taking pictures of kids in swimsuits and then all sort of clothes. And then I had my tiny little dog, which was a Yorkshire Terrier. So there I was doing all the modeling and everything, and at the end of the day, they paid me in cash, 5,000 pesetas, which is really the equivalent of nearly £1,000 today for a 10-year-old. And then I remember going to the shops in Ibiza and then trying to buy things. And I remember spending 200 pesetas, and it was still buying a lot more. So my mom said, listen, you don't have to spend them all at once. Why don't you save them? And only when my parents got divorced, that money sort of came to fruition. And I had a really nice sort of piece of money that I've never thought it could have been mine. I grew up around people who have a lot of money, but I never really appreciated what they had. So I also was aware of that, and I felt always like my parents were not so multimillionaires. They had good money, they gave us a good life, but they had to work, for the living. So I was a bit conscious about it and say, well, one extreme to another is not good. Then when I moved to Brussels, it was very much to do with independence. I was now 13, my parents were divorced. I started to do some side working, very much to do with delivery. I used to clean houses for people, and this is 13 years old. And then my mum, being a diplomat, she used to have this card to go to Macro, which is this wholesaler where you buy all this stuff. So I did a bit. I said to my mum, listen, if you lend me some money, I want to buy loads of sort of stationery by colours and then sell them at school. And then they used to, I don't know, cost me like 5 francs, and I used to sell them at school for 15 francs. So even then I had an idea on how can I make more money out of what I currently have. I started to work again. I used to go to university, work part-time, and in that work part-time, my mum used to have a factory. And in that factory, she used to make a lot of sort of clothes, and a friend of mine used to have next door to her, she used to have a leather goods factory. So I used to get all the leftovers of all the clothes, when when you do the pattern and your clothes. So I used to do patchwork, and the patchwork used to do rucksacks, and I used to do bags, and I used to do all sort of things with the leftovers, and I used to sell them. And then I used to make a lot of money because it was handcraft, and in that time therefore you could only sell goods that came from Venezuela, which was fantastic. So that's how I made my first big money, and then that gave me the freedom to be able to put a deposit for my first car. I had the willingness all the time, but it was something that triggered it. The event happened very early in my life, therefore drove me always to want to do better and to become independent and not letting people tell me what to do or how to do it. So the reason I wanted to create a Plant Ahead Money is very much about how can raise the awareness. And raising the awareness is hard because not everybody listens. So I think what's important is if the willingness is there, I want to be there for that person to have the support, the coaching, and also obviously the education that they need to succeed on their goals. You don't really need to fail. You do not really need to get to the point where you're desperate to then take action. Action is today, is now. Everybody can do it as long as you want to do it and you take the time. Time is important. It's like everything in life. If you want a tree to grow, you plant the tree, you water the tree, you keep an eye on the tree, you trim it now and then, and eventually one day the tree becomes stronger and stronger, and even if the winds come and the rain comes, the tree stands up. Plant your future today.